Hey guys, get unready with me for a supervised visit with my son. So this was my outfit. And we were supposed to go to the trampoline park today. And the reason I'm not seeing my son is because the lady that I pay almost $1,400 for every 2 weeks to see my son for 9 hours a week canceled or rescheduled because she was feeling ill again. Of course, I didn't find out until this morning. And by the time I had already gone to a local coffee shop, packed our bag, and prepared for the day, she didn't tell me that the visitation was canceled. The father didn't tell me that the visitation was canceled. It was the teacher who sent me a message through the school's app saying that the grandmother had picked up my son. So these are the things that I had packed that are not going to go to waste because they were already about to, almost go bad. Not the popcorn, fresh, got it. I always like to have extra snacks because it can get really expensive spending the day out with your child. And I try to get really creative that if I'm gonna go to like a trampoline park, I'll have dinner or lunch at a local restaurant because obviously where else am I gonna heat up food if I take him food? And if I have only 5 hours with my son, I wanna be mindful that if I go to the trampoline park and then come back to our house, well, my Airbnb, my son will wanna stay with me. And then that would cause emotional breakdown and it'll be a little bit harder for him to leave. So I had popcorn packed. I had a ball just in case we had to switch up the schedule and go to the park. I also had fresh fruits that I often pack to pick him up from school. Because I also had a fresh lemonade that has spirulina because I already see him coughing a little bit. So I wanted to avoid him, having any immune system disruption. So we were going to eat out wherever we were at a local restaurant. And this was going to be his little special treat as a juice, lemonade, which has chlorophyll and spirulina. I also had his favorite cucumbers with his seasoning and a little vial of vinegar. Now, I'm hoping this can last until tomorrow because I didn't put the vinegar and stuff. But if my visit doesn't happen tomorrow, this will be trash because when I have anxiety, sometimes I don't eat either. So that's another thing that will probably go to waste. I also carry water for my son, fresh ice water, because nobody who cares for him on the other side cares enough to give him a thermal and wash it and keep it loaded with fresh water. So I often have to keep this every time I pick him up. I had some books that we were going to read in the car. I had some extra clothes just in case it gets cold in the trampoline park or in the restaurant afterwards. Of course, I had his vitamins because God forbid I don't have his EMOS gummies. And I had his tincture because like I said, he was already starting to show a little cough and we don't got time for Lauren. I have my little pointer to read the books. So you don't know what people be going through. Some of us keep a smile on our face and doing the best we can for our children. But let me tell you something, justice is real and divine intervention is at play. Because the thing is that although my visit with my son was canceled yesterday, he was so excited. As soon as I got on the phone with him, when I was allowed to have a conversation with him as per the father, my son immediately said, "Tomorrow's Friday. Mommy, you're going to pick me up and we're going to go to the trampoline park?" "Yes, son. I'll be there." I've already been told that every time I'm 2 minutes late because of her, or if something happens that it's canceled because of her, my son goes, he cries. He's 5. It's disappointing to be expecting your mommy to pick you up. And there's so many people in the way who are hindering that. I asked the father if I can speak to him on the phone tonight to at least let him know what happened. He said no. He said, "No, you won't be able to speak to him tomorrow, but you can see him. You won't be able to speak to him today, but you can see him tomorrow." And I was like, well, the lady is really sick. She's throwing up. She has headaches. I don't know if she'll be available tomorrow. Can I at least speak to my son to explain what happened today? He said no. So you're keeping me from talking to my son yet again. Especially since on Thanksgiving week, he already restricted me to only 2 conversations a week because I was seeing my son in person 2 days out of the week. There comes a point in life where you will be judged for the decisions you make. And hindering a relationship on purpose with a mother and a child who obviously belong together, who are obviously safe with each other, only to pursue this ideology and narrative that you said of the mother being unsafe, is pretty wild. I'm going to continue to look at this from a very positive perspective and say that everything's working out for me and my son, regardless of what, because universal law is always at play. Regardless, stand up for these babies. Because what do you mean my son is not bothered? What do you mean my son is not affected by this? You're trying to make me look like an unfit father who doesn't show up to pick up their child. Yet I'm there 20 minutes early every time I can be, because if I do the most or I do extra, then I'm overstepping.